In a new plan from the Texas Department of Transportation, the state is setting aside $408 million for electric vehicle charging infrastructure over the next 5 years. That's a lot of new chargers being built out in Texas. And I was actually wondering, how many chargers are there? Well, I'm about to let you know. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. Great to see you. Hope you had an amazing day. Now, since Tesla moved its headquarters to Texas late last year, the state has made many strides in EV adoption. Still doesn't legalize Tesla to actually sell cars there, but anyway, that's another story. Many towns are investing in Tesla Model 3s as police cars. How does that work? Question to you Americans, how are towns in Texas allowed to buy Tesla Model 3s when citizens are not allowed to buy them? So police departments are clearly allowed to buy them, but citizens are not. Come on, this is surely some kind of weird double standard, right? Anyway, Austin and other major cities have invited investment from the Boring Company as well to ease congestion and reduce emissions. However, I'm going to point out one important fact. There are now new EV incentives in Texas. Tesla doesn't qualify for them. Why? Because they can't legally sell cars in Texas. All kinds of weird things going on in that state. Honestly, I love Texas, but some of this stuff is just truly bizarre. As noted in a recent Texas Department of Transportation plan released on the 12th of June, the state will be building charging infrastructure every 50 miles along many major interstate routes. As of the date of this report's publishing, there are 129,000 electric vehicles in Texas. That number, though, is rapidly growing. You can imagine how many there's going to be within a few years, right? There's going to be, surely there's going to be millions in the state of Texas by 2025. Now, this report actually begins by pointing out that since 2020, the total number of electric vehicles across Texas has nearly tripled, right? That's less than 2 years. Tripling in less than 2 years. That's pretty cool. Now, Teslarati says that it goes on to argue that with rapidly growing adoption rates, it is necessary to ensure Texas will be able to meet the demand. The plan outlines some key parts of the infrastructure being installed. Many of the stations will include energy storage and or solar power generation to ease demand on the grid. The chargers will charge at a rate of 150 kilowatt with multiple bays at each station, and the goal will be to have installed roughly 500,000 chargers by 2030. 500,000, that's way more than there are gas stations in Texas right now. So we're going to have, this is really amazing, right? We're going to have at least 500,000 chargers in Texas by 2030, right? Plus, we're also going to have privately built chargers like at hotels and at universities and colleges. So let's just add an extra 520,000. Plus, let's add every home in Texas that can charge an EV. There's going to be chargers everywhere. The whole concept of range anxiety should only apply to one type of vehicle, right? Internal combustion engine vehicles. Think about it, right? Range anxiety should only apply if you have to go to a gas station. How many gas stations will even be in operation in 2030 if there's millions of electric chargers all over Texas and people start to recognize the fact that actually, logically, range anxiety on a mathematical basis really only applies to internal combustion vehicles, especially when the price of gasoline is through the freaking roof. Imagine where it's going to be in 2030. It could be even 3 times, 4 times higher than where it is now. Right now, it's just out of control. Anyhow, the density, distribution, and power of the EV network outlined in this plan is targeted to support 1 million electric vehicles when built out, the report states. Now, I think that's ridiculous. You need 500,000 chargers for 1 million vehicles. So in other words, each vehicle owns 0.5 of a charger. That seems a bit drastic to me. DC fast charging stations will be 50 miles apart on the electric alternative fuel corridors and usually 70 miles apart anywhere else in the state, no matter where you are. Drivers will have multiple options for EV charging along their intended travel route. Each location will have at least 4 units with pull-through spaces for passenger vehicles, pulling trailers, or recreational vehicles. When drivers arrive at a location with 4 or more units, it is likely a stall will be available even then. Governor Greg Abbott commented on the new plan, saying Texas's sheer volume of roadway miles leaves ample opportunity for EV charging development, but specifically highlighted the need for rural charging. I direct TxDOT and shareholders to include in the plan a way for Texans to easily get from Beaumont to El Paso and Texline to Brownsville in an EV, with a focus on rural placement and connectivity. Now, this investment follows shortly after Gigatexas went live with its near constant hiring and promises of massive production numbers from that factory. It could be the highest producing factory in the world of vehicles, period, within the next couple of years. It may be as well that state officials want to be ready for the coming wave of Tesla vehicles, even though you're not allowed to sell them there, and employees in the state. The full Texas Department of Transportation EV charging plan is available, and I'll put a link in the description below to that plan. You can check that out if you want. So where is this money coming from? It's coming from the federal government, which puts a bit of a different slant on this. It's not really coming from the Texas state itself. It's coming from the federal government. So the Democrats are helping to fund this electric transformation going on in Texas. Texas is a massive place. So if you're an Aussie watching this video right now, well, this gives you an idea that it's very possible, right? Texas have said, well, the country have said, Texas is massive. We have roads all over the place, just like Australia. However, we're going to have an EV charger every 50 miles. There's no reason we can't do that here in Australia if our government gets off its butt. Sorry, guys. You love the Labor government? Yeah, they're not doing enough. They can do a lot more than what they're saying they're going to do. If they do have a committed focus, get together with the states, right? Create a plan for all of Australia. We can do the same thing there as well. Now, Elon's big move into Texas may prove to be one of his smartest, even though it's been criticized by a lot of people, especially recently. If he can get the biggest red state to embrace the transition to EVs and renewable energy, that's a huge win for the United States. Lots of other red states would likely follow suit. Hopefully, once Texas sees the good that Tesla is doing for them in terms of the economy and energy and clean air, it won't be long before Texas allows Tesla to sell direct to customers. Now, people have been saying all over the internet that Texans don't love the environment, that they don't support science. Sorry, I don't think that's true. This whole idea that Texans are stupid is idiotic. It's just mental. They're not stupid. They're probably a similar IQ to every other state in the US and probably similar to most states here in Australia. In fact, they might even be smarter. I don't know. But you've got to say, right, whatever the case may be, did your state enable Tesla to come there and build one of the world's biggest factories, employing probably hundreds of thousands of people indirectly and tens of thousands of people directly? Well, whatever the case may be, that was a next level smart chess move from Texas. And they did it. Your state probably didn't. So therefore, maybe they aren't so stupid after all. That said, there is a few kind of retarded level things going on in Texas right now. Now, the Texas GOP is kind of bizarre. This week, their platform for 2022, among other things, calls for the following: a 2023 statewide referendum to secede from the United States, repeal of the 1965 Voting Rights Act, withdrawal from the United Nations, complete ban on abortion under all circumstances, not recognizing Joe Biden as the legitimate president of the US. Now, I don't know how true all that is, but I mean, at least some of it has to be true. And in that case, yeah, what is going on down there in Texas? Good and bad. It's a crazy place, but you've got to love it. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.